Hi, I'm Mark Mifflin. I'm a member of the Illinois Defense Council's Legislative Committee, and I'm here to give you a little report about the progress of the legislature through the spring session. Today is March 11th, and we're about halfway through the session, but there has not been as much activity in this first half as we expect in the second half because there have been a lot of delays due to the primary election that's coming up on March 17th. So after the primary election, there'll be a lot more activity, but we do have had some deadlines passed. The deadline to introduce bills has passed, so we do have kind of a finite number of bills to work with from this point forward, although that's a little bit of a misleading because the amendments flow freely from the majority, especially from the Democrats in the House and the Senate, to the existing bills. So while the bills may be limited, certainly the amendments will open up the issues if the majority wants to open them up. So, but it is calmed down from when all the bills were being introduced in February, and it was very difficult to kind of keep up at that time. In terms of the deadlines, March 27th is the deadline to get House bills out of the House and Senate bills, out of the House committees and Senate bills out of the Senate committees. April 24th is to pass the bills, the originating bills out of the House, and then the ones that originated in the Senate out of the Senate. May 15th is for the House to pass Senate bills out of committee and the Senate to pass House bills out of committees. May 22nd is when the House bills have to be out of the Senate and the Senate bills have to be out of the House. And then the last couple of weeks from the 22nd to the 31st is when they go back and forth with amendments and concurrent amendments or recede from amendments and finalize all the activity. The spring session is scheduled to end on May 31st, and it most likely will, excuse me, because this is an election year and the legislature doesn't like to look bad in an election year. And after May 31st, any bills with immediate effective dates, like the budget and some of the other bills, have to have a 3/5 majority. So it's harder to pass the bills at that time. So I do expect that the bills will, the legislature will adjourn on May 31st as planned. So let me tell you, we've got a lot of bills that we're following on our list. Though that list is on the website, the new Illinois Defense Council website. So please take a look at that. It's in the advocacy section, and all the bills are presented in more detail at that point. And you can follow them through the Illinois General Assembly website. So look there if you have any more specific questions, or certainly if you have any questions, we'd be glad to help you from the Illinois Defense Council. The first bill I want to point out to you is Senate Bill 31, Senate Bill 3148. That is the Illinois Defense Council's proposal presented through Senator Brady, the Republican leader in the Senate. We presented this before, and we haven't gotten much traction because the trial lawyers and the Democrats and Labor generally don't like our proposal. It deals with joint and several liability, and you may recall that it says that all of the tortfeasors would be put on the defense verdict form, just like they are on the plaintiff's verdict form, and the jury would not be told about the 51% finding defeating the plaintiff's claim, just like they're not presently told about the 26% or the 25% finding against the defendant, making him only, or 25% or less, making him only severally liable. So we're just trying to level the playing field and treat the plaintiffs and the defendants equally. But like I say, so far we have not had much luck with that. We will continue to press that, and Senator Brady has been very helpful in presenting those issues in the legislature, and we'll keep trying. The next bill that is very problematic, and this is probably the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association's major bill this year, is House Bill 5044. That bill would eliminate the doctrine of forum nonconveniens, and it would allow the plaintiff, if the plaintiff files a suit where venue is proper, it would remove the judge's authority to transfer that to a more convenient venue, to a different county. So what it would do would be to substitute the plaintiff's judgment for the filing of venue for any consideration that the judge may have in transferring to a better venue. We do oppose that. The business community opposes that. The insurance industry opposes that. But it is likely to pass because of the power of the trial lawyers and Labor with the Democrats in control of the House and the Senate, and of course Governor Pritzker. If and when the bill does pass, we do expect that the IDC will be helpful in mounting a challenge to the constitutionality of the bill, because it is contrary to Supreme Court Rule 187, dealing with forum nonconvenience, and with Supreme Court Rule 384, dealing with consolidation across the counties. So we're looking for that. We're watching for cases, if and when this does become law, where this might be a way for us to challenge it if it is passed into law. So that's the biggest thing that we're watching for this year is House Bill 5044. It's not moving yet. It will be moving quickly. We've been told that, like I said, this is the trial lawyer's major bill, and we expect that they will push through with it. I'll just mention a couple more bills, a few more bills for you. Senate Bill 3351 is an initiative of the Illinois State Bar Association. It would change the statute of limitations for lawyers, for claims against lawyers that do estate planning, to say that it's 6 years after the lawyer performs the work. Right now, there's a caveat where if the problems with the attorney's work don't come up until after a death or after the implementation of a trust or whatever, then you can bring the action at that time. But this would eliminate those kind of caveats and say it's 6 years after the attorney does his work. There are still amendments being floated on that bill, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to end up. But that's Senate Bill 3351, and like I said, it's a Illinois State Bar Association initiative. We're watching that. We're not necessarily actively engaged in that bill, but we are watching it so that we can keep you guys abreast of that. The next bill, House Bill 4006, would have originally prohibited the Tollway Authority from providing information about the usage, tollway users' locations as they go through the toll booths. It's to prevent abuse. The bill was designed to prevent abuses of the use of that information. The IDC has proposed an amendment to say that you could get that information if you had a subpoena from the court, an order from the court in order to obtain that, because we convinced the sponsor that there were circumstances where it would be helpful and in the interest of justice to have that information available. But you would have to go get a court order to get that. There's several employment bills, too, that we've been watching. House Bill 4837 would prohibit an employer from doing a criminal background check on potential employees. This is from the criminal rights activists, and we have opposed that bill. The employers are also, of course, opposed to that bill because of the ramifications it might have. So we're watching that one and working on that one. Senate Bill 3891 would allow an employee to file a complaint with the Human Rights Commission anonymously, and we're opposed to that one also. We have a one-pager. By the way, we have some what we call one-pagers, information sheets on the website for some of these bills, particularly our bill, Senate Bill 3148 that I talked about, joint and several liability, House Bill 5044 dealing with venue, and this bill I know we have one on there too, Senate Bill 3891 dealing with anonymous human rights complaints. I'm not sure how that bill is going to progress. It does seem kind of overkill to have to proceed through that anonymously when those are generally not public anyway. So we're working on that bill. And then the final bill that I want to point out is House Bill 4988, which would preclude confidentiality in settlement agreements in discrimination cases. And so we're opposed to that because we think it might have a chilling effect on settlements in those types of cases. So you can see we've got a pretty full plate. These are just some of the bills that we are watching and working on. The Legislative Committee meets weekly by phone to discuss the status of bills and what's coming up the following week. So we are engaged with the legislature at this time. Like I say, if you have any questions about these bills or if you want to watch the progress of these bills, you can do so on the newly designed Illinois Defense Council website in the legislative portion of the advocacy section. And you can also follow it on the General Assembly's website. And like I said before, we'll be glad to help you if you have any specific questions too. So we want you to know we're out there plugging and doing what we can and pointing out bad bills and hoping to improve them if they are going to pass. And we're also trying to promote our own bill. So thank you very much.